because it is about leaving a legacy. We have a choice, because we are going to leave a legacy anyway. The choice is it a positive one or is it a negative? You know, I'm an optimist. I think we're wise enough to understand that, yes, we have needs for commodities, that we are consumers, that we are stewards of these lands. We're also stewards of what the future holds, because we're going to leave the foundation for others to build upon. It's about leaving a legacy. But it's the choice that we make what that legacy will be. You know, moving forward, the BLM is partnering, like many of you, with children and families to bring the outdoors and nature back to their daily lives through a variety of initiatives. We're actively engaging youth from early childhood and young adults through a wide range of educational and recreational programs. We recognize that an appreciation of and relationship with the natural world leads to healthier bodies and minds, as well as instilling a deeper stewardship responsibility. You know, the Bureau of Land Management hired 3,100 young adults last year. 3,100. That's 40% more than we hired in 2009. 3,100. That's 1/3 of the entire workforce of the Bureau of Land Management. 3,100. We had the opportunity to mentor, to provide opportunities for people to engage on their lands, in programs and their family support through tax dollars, to gain an experience that I hope will last a lifetime for them, so that they too can carry back that experience and formulate their own plans for what they want to do in their careers and as adults. The BLM's recruitment program is, in fact, used as a model by the entire Interior Department. It's part of an effort to provide career pathways for youth from diverse backgrounds. Today, there are nearly 76 million people living in the Western United States. This growth and urbanization brings new pressures and more complex challenges in managing public lands, namely, balancing the management of natural and cultural resources with a variety of activities that Americans enjoy and rely upon. But our customer base is more than just those living in the West. I already mentioned the international customers and visitors that we have, and that number is growing each year. It's not all about fun and games, however. Our challenges were tragically highlighted by last year's incident in California's Johnson Valley, where several spectators attending a BLM-sanctioned event on public lands were killed in an accident. The incident triggered an accelerated focus on management and monitoring of our permits, of special events, as well as a commitment to make sure that we have a presence at these events, and that presence is going to be covered through a cost recovery from the proponents. The causes of and the answers to the Johnson Valley incident certainly are not all known at this point in time. But two things seem to be evident: that organized groups and the individual, whether spectator or participants, all have a critical stake in the future of public land-based competitive events. And all of us have a responsibility when it comes to public safety. You know, over the last decade or so, we have been tied up in dealing with many challenges as a nation. We continue to engage in war to make sure that the citizens of this great country that we live are protected from terrorism and those who would do us harm. So I'd be remiss if I did not briefly highlight the BLM's commitment to providing the highest possible level of access to facilities, to programs, to services and activities on the public lands for all persons with disabilities, including veterans. For disabled veterans, recreational BLM managed land and rivers is a great way to improve physical and mental well-being. We should all be conscientious about the needs of veterans returning from harm's way and our responsibilities to accommodate. They have served our country well. The BLM, like many of the agencies that you represent or the businesses that you work in, encourages all of us to work together to develop partnerships that better serve wounded warriors and veterans, especially for career, recreation, and volunteer opportunities. I think we owe it to them. You know, let me wrap up my comments. I know it's happy hour. And I know there's other things that many of you would rather be doing, sitting here listening to me speak. Let me wrap up my talk by just saying that we, like you, are working hard to instill awareness and an enduring appreciation of the unique natural, cultural, and historic resources that are found on the lands and waters that we manage. The Bureau of Land Management employees are proud to offer some of the most beautiful, diverse, and exciting opportunities in the nation. The 27 million acres encompassing the units of the National Landscape Conservation System that's managed by the Bureau of Land Management are some of the best that you find anywhere. They're certainly comparable to every unit, or at least to many of the units of the National Park Service and those managed by the Fish and Wildlife Service. But you know, we're not in competition with one another. We're in partnership. And the Park Service offers a unique experience. So do the Fish and Wildlife Service, so does the Corps of Engineers, so do state parks, so do community parks and recreation. And so does the Bureau of Land Management. And we're working together to make sure that we meet the demands and the expectations of the public that we serve. And the only way that we can do that is through the partnership. So Derek, once again, I appreciate the leadership that you provide in bringing us together on an annual basis so that we can hear about what each of us are doing. What's the latest trends? What should we be thinking about? How can we incorporate the best management practices into our jobs, into our vision, so that the legacy that we do leave is a very, very positive thing. You know, I feel strongly that by working with partners at the local, state, and national levels, the Bureau of Land Management is going to meet its mission of sustaining the health, diversity, and productivity of public lands for the use and enjoyment of present and future generations. I started off saying it was an honor for me to serve as the Director of the Bureau of Land Management. It is. When I worked with Scott and the Corps of Engineers, when I grew up in Mississippi many, many years ago, and then I've lived in Wyoming, Arizona, Washington, D.C., and Colorado, and Nevada. And I traveled around and I've seen some beautiful lands. And I've met some really fantastic people. And the one thing that we have in common is our love for the outdoors. And yet we have a generation growing up that has not necessarily had the same opportunities that we've had to access America's great outdoors. So we need to bring those outdoors to them and then bring them to the outdoors. And there's ways of doing it. Many of you are already creating that opportunity. I commend you for doing that. There's much more to do. It is about the future of this nation. It's about developing that new stewardship. So I'm pretty optimistic that even though we've done some pretty darn good things in the past, that our best days are yet to come. So thank you. Appreciate it, Terry.
Thanks, Bob. Why don't you grab one of these seats and
one of these?
And what we have decided to do tonight is to ask two participants in not only this Partners Outdoors, but many of the past Partners Outdoors to come on up and join us. That's Michelle Johnson and Mark. And what we're going to do is Mark Saperstein, and we're going to have the two of them talk about what they heard from Bob Abbey, and to join in a conversation that you'll be invited to participate in as well, about how we can make this optimism, this commitment to continue to build on the successes of the past, come to reality and how we can be great partners using the insights that Bob has. You know, just to begin, I guess I would simply say that Secretary Salazar has done a wonderful thing. He has put together a team of people managing America's great outdoors that really is extraordinary. And Bob is one of the best examples. But as you look at the John Jarvis's, as you look at, even with the transition going on to the Fish and Wildlife Service, an outstanding team of professionals, career people who really know how the system operates. Their learning curve was dramatically less because they knew that. And they're trusted both within the agencies and outside. And if you have any doubt about the difficulties that we're facing, just think about this. The Bureau of Land Management manages 250 million acres with 10,000 people. My math tells me that's about 25,000 acres per man and woman that works for the Bureau of Land Management. Now, I don't know how large a spread you have. I have a quarter acre in Northern Virginia. I find taking care of that pretty challenging, not 25,000 acres. But anyway, we're here to talk a little bit about what we heard and to explore ways to work together. Now, Michelle, as you, I think, well know, runs the America's Byways Resource Center up in Duluth. She's an extraordinary partner. Her organization brings together local communities, state and federal agencies, including the Bureau of Land Management, as well as business and citizen activists to try to realize what is in fact an important legacy of the President's Commission on Americans Outdoors, a dream of a new network of scenic byways that connect people and history and culture much as the Park Service or BLM does. Mark Saperstein is the editor-in-chief and publisher of the American Park Network and has done some extraordinarily creative things in terms of the communications field, both in print, on web, and in leading the way to be carbon neutral in terms of as a mechanism to try and communicate ideas and guide visitors as they come to look at and enjoy America's public lands. So let's begin first by inviting Michelle to tell us what she heard that excites her, and by Bob, and Mark join in, and we're going to have a conversation in. Pretty soon we'll go and invite you to join in with us as well. So, Michelle.
Thank you. Well, to start on sort of a fun note, I think my favorite comment was about Packers. Because as a Wisconsin resident and a lifelong Packer fan, that was good news, good message. I think my favorite part was when you talked about leaving a legacy, and kind of made me a little nervous because I started thinking about, okay, am I leaving the right legacy? And is my agency leaving the right legacy? And what about the people that I work with, all the byways that we provide services to, that 150 America's byways? So I think that's an excellent message to really think about. And you also mentioned the founding principles, and to kind of look back at some of the actions that you personally have and that your agency has and the work that you do. I thought that was a really good, a great message, and something that's really critical and very important right now. Can I ask a question now?
Sure.
Okay. So with that, sort of call to action and the whole legacy thing, what kind of advice can you give byways to help them be part of this legacy? And by byways, I'm talking about the state agencies, the volunteers, the community groups, the local residents who care so much about the land that they live on, and the resources, the stories, those kinds of people. How can they be part of the legacy?